morning. We were supposed to be going, oh, I've lost your video. We were supposed to be going live, there we go, in my Compassionate Women's Health community, but for some reason, Facebook decided that even though I'm the admin, it's not going to let me go live in that group this morning. So we'll share it into the group later. So for those watching it in the group, just let me know in the replay how you experience this for us, if that's been uploaded correctly, etc. But anyway, moving on. So Sherri's here from Essential Spending Planner. She's going to share with us how we can handle health costs. So the members of my Compassionate Women's Health community are dealing with various different women's health chronic conditions, whether that's infertility, PCOS, endometriosis, and we're aware that they often have a high price tag to be able to deal with those conditions. So whether that's with infertility, fertility specialists, IVF, with endometriosis, there's surgery that women often have to have, and there's thousands of dollars that need to be spent there. And I've had my own clients that have actually lost their jobs because of the way the condition means that their health is impacted and they are going to hospital for admissions. And so the cost for them might be that they're losing their job. So needing to manage our finances in these situations is so critical. So I've invited Sherri along. A little bit about Sherri. So she's a stay-at-home mum of 5 children for 27 years, serving her family in the community. She learned valuable time and money management skills that are priceless. She is continually learning to serve her clients so they too can learn and grow. And she's certified as a spending planner in 2017. Her proven strategies take individuals and families from money stress to money success quickly, turn financial flabbiness into financial fitness, fast as money truths and proven money tools are easily followed with her support. So Sherri takes you beyond a budget to proven spending plan to become a happier saver and spender. So welcome, Sherri. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm looking forward to it.
So do you want to just share a little bit more about that background of yours, you know, a stay-at-home mum of 5 children for 27 years and what that taught you?
Yes. Well, that was a decision we made right at the beginning, my husband and I, and we knew we wanted a large family. And I remember having our first child, and back, you know, the child endowment, and I think we were going to get $30 a week or $30 a fortnight. And I remember having the discussion thinking, what are we going to do with that 30? Are we going to just incorporate that into our spending, or are we going to make that work for us and not rely on that? And we decided we would not rely on that money because this was 30 years ago. We thought, what if the government just crashes? Well, it hasn't done that yet, but let me tell you that decision was the best financial decision we had made, because we actually went to the States in 2003 as a family, had 5 kids under the age of 12. And because we didn't count on that money, we saved for like 6 months and we paid for our trip to the States for a month.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And so we always made sure that our finances were based on what my husband brought home and no government handouts. That was to us a bonus. And if by chance something happened to his wage, then we would have that money. So, yeah, we had 5 children. And it was after the 3rd child, who was unexpected, that my health world kind of went up. And it was funny because, and it's timing wise, and you know, when I spoke to you or chatted with you on Friday, I was a bit overwhelmed, and it's all just hit me again. When I had my 3rd child, I started what I didn't know then was PMDD. And I suffered for 20 years up until just the last few months. Now it's like, oh no, something's rearing its head, but I know that I'm on the other end because
I just got goosebumps, Sherri.
Yeah. I haven't had a menstrual cycle since November. And so I think I'm in menopause. I know I have 6 more months before they can confirm it, but the hot flashes And then I've noticed it slowly creeping in since probably February, where I'm just not coping as much. I'm not having those clear minds of thinking. I'm just not the person, the strong person, and the capable person that I have been. And of course, running a business and just with things that have happened, new developments in our family and our growth of our family, I've noticed that, yeah, I become those same symptoms of PMDD. Now, what is PMDD? PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric, which makes it sound really weird, dysphoric disorder. Doctors at first thought I had bipolar because I would have these big highs and then I'd have these long lows. For me, what did it look like for me is I was started PMS symptoms, which for me is nothing physical. It's all anxiety and over and depression. At one ovulation, it would not leave before menstruation. It would go into the next ovulation and the next menstruation. So it would last 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden I would wake up one morning and that cloud would lift and I would be back to normal and want to conquer the world because I had just lost 6 to 8 weeks of who I am. But I just had to learn to manage it. That's all I could do. I knew it was hormonal. And I think the biggest lesson I learned was in the 12-step program, which I ran a community one just for addictions, not substance abuse, but just any addictions. I had people there for chocoholic. And when I was working through that program, I read part of the Alcoholics Anonymous book, and it said that if you're not well, if your friend is not well, how are you going to treat them? You're not going to tell them, snap out of it, get up and just go do things. No, you're going to sit and listen to them and just kind of do that. And that's when it changed for me, is I thought during these times, I have to be compassionate to myself.
Yep.
I have to be compassionate to myself and not expect the high level I normally run on, that this is okay.
Yeah.
And that this too shall pass.
Mm.
And so I knew that morning at 7 a.m. or whenever it was, that all of a sudden I would go back into rebalance. So that was a really tough time for me.
Mm.
And through that all, I was a mom of 5.
Mm.
And yeah, my kids still say, wow, you sure slept a lot, Mom. Yeah, because one, sometimes that was the only way to turn the brain off because the brain's constantly going. And but the one thing that was a blessing during that time was I was always good with money. But I thought after coming back from that trip and having such a wonderful time, I thought there has to be a better way than traditional budgeting. And so I still had stress. Just because you have a budget, I was still having stress and I wasn't living to our potential. And so that's when I went on search for something better. I had something was good. I was good with budgeting, but I wanted something better. And that's when I found the system that I use today. And I've used it for 18 years, and it has dramatically changed our financial life. And my husband, again, he was, a moderate income. And so just even knowing that I had my finances organized through all those ups and downs of those hormones was so good, because our life, money makes our life go round, or it makes it go pear-shaped. And so if you have other things in your life that's going pear-shaped and things that you can't control, like your health, if your finances are totally pear-shaped too, then that's only going to add to the mental health and your physical health. And so I was so grateful that I found this new way that I could set up my finances. They could be totally automated. It would take me less than 10 minutes a pay. No tracking. I had a plan, which was all forward projecting, and then I just followed my plan. I didn't have to think because I set up boundaries so that I protected my money from me. I thought when I was very sanely, this is how I want to spend our money for the next year, put it in the system, and then put it all on automatic pilot. And
so tell us, what are some of these key factors of this spending mindset versus like a budgeting sort of mindset?
Yeah, the biggest key difference is a budget talks about income. And if you see any budget that you have or that they talk about at the first of the year, everyone needs a budget. They start with expense. And then they start subtracting all your monthly or weekly, however, usually it's monthly, all your monthly expenses until you get to a zero. Unfortunately, if you look at most of those do not include medical. Most of those do not include the unexpected. What if something happens, which is usually medical, then how are you going to deal with it? And so they're very unrealistic. They don't have the full truth. That's one thing that I teach people is the full 100% money truths. We have to know truth because we are lied to so much by consumerism, and we were not taught how to do money in school. And so we have to take it upon ourselves to educate ourselves. That's what I am. Number one is I educate people. So the number one education is one, you have to know money truth. Number two is budgets are broken because they only deal with income and expenses. And of course, you're never going to have enough income. When COVID hit, it was really sad. And I found it quite eye-opening. You know, we all learned how to social distance. We all learned how to have clean hands. But did you ever hear the government talk to you about how you can prepare maybe from the second wave financially? No, all they did was give you handouts. Okay, and there again, we decided we are going to become self-reliant as a family for our finances. We weren't going to depend on the government for anything because they may never be there at one point. We have to take care of that ourselves. And so, yeah, so they never told us. And people are still relying on these handouts, and they just finished on March 31st, you know, and now people are really struggling. That's because we need to become self-reliant. And so with the budget, as opposed to a spending plan incorporates the missing link, which is so vital, and that's timing. You know, we have incomes that come in certain days out of the year and certain weeks. We have our, you know, and we have our bills, and our bills are not all coming out at the end of the year, because generally a budget will say, how much do all your bills add up in the year? So we add that up. Now divide that by 52. Okay, now you should be able to pay your bills. But your bills aren't coming exactly when that calculation is saying. They're coming all different times. And so with the spending plan, you basically put in three vital important informations: the cost, and you estimate it on the high side, how frequent it happens, and then when the next date it's due. You put those three bits of information into the spending plan. It will show you your next 12 months. It will show you your bank balances for any day of the year in the next 12 months. So you'll see if at any point when that car registration comes in, if you're going to have enough money or not. But the benefit is if you don't have enough, you're seeing that 6 months ahead. And so you can make a plan to maybe increase things. But I mean, the system tells you exactly how much you need to keep into your bill account. That's probably the biggest thing, is a lot of people I see have one account. And in that one account, they have their spending, they have their bill money, and they have their savings. Well, the first thing to go when there's an unexpected health cost is your savings, or what you really want. The next thing that they usually take away is your bills. They spend their bill money because they usually overspend in their spending, their food and all this stuff. And so I put a real priority on, you know, you have to pay your bills first. And you have to have money in what I call the big bad wolf account. You might know it as the rainy day account, but I use the bank structure, which I teach, which protects your money from you, because the chances of anyone coming in and stealing out of your wallet is very little, but the chances of you stealing from your own money is very, very high. And so we have to create a bank structure that the banks don't teach you. In fact, they told one of my clients when they went to set up this bank structure, they said, "Where'd you get this?" And they said, "Oh, from my spending planner." And they said, "Oh, because that's how we do our banking, but we don't tell our clients that." And I was shocked. And I thought, no wonder when you open up a bank account and when you're young, you open up, they give you an everyday account and a savings. But they know that you're going to muck up. You're going to have your bills and your spending all in one account. And so you're going to have to get their credit card, and then you're going to have to get into debt. And so they don't educate you. And so that's what I do. I don't work for anybody other than myself and my life experience. And so, yeah, we have to have an account on its own just for bills. That's sacred, that you do not touch. That money is there to pay bills, and whatever, you don't touch that money. Then you also have to have a big bad wolf account. That is for those unexpected costs that we have. They will happen. COVID happened. It's going to continue. If it's not COVID, it's going to be something else. There are always unexpected costs. So we need to
And so how do you help people work out what actually needs to go into that big bad wolf account?
Well, the big bad wolf account is unexpected. So it's not expenses that go into that account, it's money. You just decide, like every pay, we put in a certain amount into our big bad wolf account. We built that up, and I recommend $2,000 to have in your big bad wolf account. And that's the minimum. If you have an investment property, you need to have a big bad wolf for your investment property. If you go on holidays, like we went on holidays as a family just before COVID hit. I have 5 children, and there was, I think, 4 grandchildren at that time. They all had spending plans. They all paid cash, but we also had a big bad wolf for our travel, for our trip, because things go wrong, and flights got canceled, but we had to buy flights and all these things. So you have to have that big bad wolf for all those, your investment, your personal, and if you go on a holiday. And so, yes, your big bad wolf is for your health. But in my bills account, I have money for medical. Yeah. Those are the planned expenses. Your bill account is not just for bills, it's for anything that you can give the amount, estimated amount, how often it happens, and the next date it's due. So if you go to a specialist every 2 months, then you put that in and you estimate what it's going to cost. And so that's the planned expenses, but your big bad wolf is those unplanned expenses, those unplanned medical things that you don't know. And so if you do have health issues, you're going to want higher than 2,000, because that covers lots of unexpected. For example, my daughter just got in a car accident, and I tell my kids, do not tail tag, because if you get in an accident, you have to pay the excess. Well, yeah, she learned that, and she's under 25, so that cost her $1,500. Now, luckily, she has a big bad wolf account, and she had that money to give to the insurance, which actually enabled her insurance to kick in. So there's lots of unexpected things that we don't expect. Health is just one of them. I have a client who has a lot of health conditions, and when it was just her and her husband, they probably in their 40s, and kids were gone, and yeah, I showed her what the spending plan can do, and it is literally changed their life. Now, when she has any health, and she has some major health things she has the money. She goes, there's no stress anymore, because I've gotten my head out of the sand. And that's what I teach. You have to get your head out of the sand. Unexpected things are going to happen. So if you keep your head in the sand like an ostrich, then personally, when I have people, it's like, I don't have a lot of sympathy, because it's a choice. We have to get our head out of the sand and realize there are unexpected things. We need to plan for them.
The question that's been brewing for me is, what is one of the biggest barriers that you find with people to getting started or even like implementing their spending plans?
At first, they don't trust it, because it's too good to be true. They say, you mean, and it shows them their next 12 months like a crystal ball. And they say, you mean I'm going to be able to afford all my bills, plus I'm going to have this amount extra to give a job in another account? Yeah. And so that's their biggest thing, is because budgeting is guessing. You're basically guessing if you can afford something or not. With a spending plan, it tells you you can or you can't, because it's dealing with bank balances in the future. So you'll be able to tell, just like we get bank balances, bank accounts statements in the past. This one gives you your future bank statement so you can see. And so it's, yeah, at first, for the first few months, they think, oh, I think I'm going to leave a bit extra money in my bills account because I'm not sure if I trust. And I said, that's okay, because we only keep 100 extra in our bills account just in case some bills come in a little bit higher than planned. Other than that, if there's any extra in the bills account because you told your kids, hey, we're going to turn off lights for the next 3 months. Anytime you see a light, let's turn it off. And this is generally what we plan for our electricity. If we can get below that, then we're going to go to Dream World. Yeah. And those kids will be turning those lights off. So it will tell you if you have any excess money in the bills account. We get it out of there because we only keep that just for bills. We use any extra dollars to go somewhere else. And so, yeah, that's probably the biggest thing, is trusting it. But once they do, after, and it's really quick and easy. Once you put all your information in and you put it in once, you never redo a budget. You never redo it. It's not a monthly budget. It's not even a yearly, but it continually, you're always seeing 12 months in advance. And so, and it takes less than 10 minutes to do your finances because you're not tracking your spending. The past is the past. And like people with health issues, we don't want to really focus on the past. We want to focus on how can we be better in the future. And so that's what it does. And then, of course, besides the bills account and your Big Bad Wolf, and then, of course, we have our savings accounts. We have our FFFI, which is for food, fuel, fun, and incidentals. That's your spending account. And once that goes to zero, you stop spending. And that's an automatic transfer from your bills account to your FFI. Once that's zero, you stop spending until the next time it comes. And so just having those boundaries, it's amazing how much money leaks from our wallet. Because one, we just don't even plan. We don't give every dollar a job that comes into our home. So that's really, really important. And that's what the plan helps you do.
I love that mindset, like every dollar has a job.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Otherwise it goes on walkabout, and I even currently have 2 17-year-old clients. So they're my youngest ones thus far. I've actually done a lot of workshops with youth. I had one that's from the south of Brisbane that was actually on Current Affair, Madison Pickering, who just bought her first home at 19 from she was raised by a single mom who did not help her at all. She just saved her dollars at McDonald's and had a plan. And so it was really great for her to come and inspire these young ones who aren't being taught money in school, just like we weren't, that you can do it. That Mr. Cred, that Commonwealth used to teach, he was the icon of the Dollarmite account, which stands for Mr. Credit, that when you get old enough, you're going to be cool and you can have a credit card.
Yeah.
That's what it was teaching our children. We need to teach, and I teach people a money truth. And the number one money truth is you save and then you spend. If you don't have it, you don't get it. And that's a basic money truth that if you follow that, then you will be financially free and have financial peace. And you have to be honest with your money and honest with your spouse and everything, and be unified. And so I help all those things. I help, but many of us are entitled to a lifestyle, or we have a bit of pride that we want to look like we have money, even though we don't. But who is that hurting? It's hurting us when we can't sleep at night because we're trying to keep up with, as in America it says, keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
But no one realized that the Joneses have a lot of debt. So they're not the people to keep up to. I am not normal. I am so proud I'm not normal financially. I am weird. And my friends, when I was younger, and young moms, because I wouldn't just pop in and get a chicken for dinner because I was too lazy to put a $3 one in the oven or whatever. I was weird. They thought, wow, you're really, but years on now, yeah, we're financially free. I mean, we're not wealthy, but if we need something, money is there. We have savings. We have planned for all those unexpected things. I think the biggest thing when I was when the kids were home, I hate, and this is prior to a spending plan, was if my kids got sick and they needed antibiotics. Now, when you have 5 kids and they all get sick after each other, that becomes very costly. And I resented going and buying medicine. It wasn't that I didn't want my kids better, is I didn't have a plan for that. That was unexpected that I never put into my budget.
Yeah.
Once I started a spending plan, I immediately started putting a certain amount each month in, and it just sat there and built up. Whenever now I go to the chemist, I love going to the chemist. In fact, I usually have a bit extra. I can have a little bit of sugar-free chocolate, and so it's all on, if you plan, you're prepared and you avoid stress.
Yeah.
If you don't plan, you will have stress with your money. And, it's actually a choice.
So how do you find, what's that key mindset that people need to come to this with?
The key mindset is truth. You have to understand what money truths are. And like I say, when I say save and then spend, most people say, oh, that's too easy. And that's what people think. Some truths are too easy. They think it has to be complicated. It's not. Math is 1 + 1 = 2. It's simple. And so you have to understand the basic money truths. Consumerism is not telling you it. School's not telling you it. Your parents probably may or may not have told it because they were just listening to whoever. And so you have to really seek out money truths. And once you have that money truth, then you need to follow it. However, your truth is, we all have our own money truth, depending on how much money comes into your home. And so, for example, I have, sometimes people will go out and spend money on a friend for a gift, yet it's like 80% of their weekly wage. They're trying to, so I have to kind of explain to them, you can't afford that. If you're working at McDonald's, then you have to think how many hours of working paid for that gift. That was like 3 or 4 hours of working, was that. And so you have to kind of look what you can afford and what you can't. And so percentages are really important.
And it's kind of working back, isn't it? Like what are you working with?
Yes. Yeah. And I teach about lifestyle. There's your life costs. Okay. They're the putting a roof over your head, having food, your health costs. But I go a lot further than that. Then you have to have money for those unexpected things. You have to have money for your future, because the future and retirement is coming. And you also have to have money for the things you really want. We don't work just to work. We work because we want to accomplish something. When we went to the States, 18 months ago, that was a dream of ours. And my kids thought it was going to be a once in a lifetime thing. But when they did it, when they set up a plan and put away a certain amount, and it actually tells you how much you need to put away if you need to buy something in the future, then they did it. And when they were there, they said, Mom, this isn't a once in a lifetime thing, because they actually had accomplished that. I said, no. And so we're planning on going in 2023, but I have a feeling it might be 2024 until we can fly, but at least they're all planning. So if you don't have a plan, then you will generally complain you don't have what you want.
Yeah.
If you have a plan, the future is yours. And so that's the biggest difference. And so a lot of budgeting is tracking where you spent your money. A spending plan starts from today, and it's all about where you're going to spend your money. So once you create your spending plan, then once it's perfect and you see that everything works perfect, then you make your actual bank accounts do the same thing. You set that plan up actually in your bank accounts. And so I help people step by step through that process of how to become efficient in the system. I help them with mindset, but the biggest mindset is money truth. When they get their stuff in there and they see whether they can or can't afford anything, that's better than any money mindset you could do. That is going to change your mindset. And so I've taken shopaholics within 1 or 2 weeks where they have no desire, because when they see their money truth and they see what they can accomplish if they have a plan and stick to it, that's all they need. That's the motivation they need. is their future dreams. And for people with health, like I said, I booked an appointment last week. I was just thinking, okay, when I talked to a friend, I was not seeing my symptoms. And then she goes, oh, Sherri, I think you need to go see so-and-so about the hormone doctor. And it's like, oh, yeah, I hadn't pinpointed that's exactly what was happening to me, but she was seeing it. So I was able to book an appointment. Well, sadly, it's not till June 10th. So I said to my husband, okay, I'm going to be a bit irritable and anxious and overwhelmed for the next month. So just be patient with me. But I had the money, no problem. I can do that. And whatever it takes that, because I have always had a plan.
And as you said, you know, you can just deal with what you're dealing with without the financial stress compounding it.
Oh, no, exactly. Financial stress is nothing. It's more just, let's get through today without being the angry witch, or, you know, saying things that in your mind. And that's what I found the most with PMDD and PMS, is you feel so right in what you want to say to someone else. You feel like it, yet it's not, it's hurtful. On the other hand, I'm grateful for PMS because, well, this is when I had just normal PMS once a month for a few days, because I think as women, we are nurturers and we give a lot. We are actually become kind of people pleasers, which is not always a good thing.
Yep.
We give too much. And when we have PMS, to me, it's God saying, okay, Sherri, you need to make them do a bit more because you're doing too much.
Well, it's the truth, isn't it? You're talking about.
So that's why it's like
life truth comes out with PMS.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, well, why were you happy yesterday that I wasn't cleaning my room? But all of a sudden today, it's just totally not acceptable. And it's like, because really it wasn't acceptable yesterday. I was just kind of, you know, and so I love when I get like this because it kind of makes my family realize. I still have two at home. I mean, they're adults, but yeah, they realize, oh, okay, maybe I need to lift up my game. And that's only good. We want our children. I didn't raise children, I raised adults. And so my kids are very independent. And so, yeah, in fact, I just went away for 10 days to visit my oldest who had a baby. And when I came home, my son says, wow, Mom, I didn't realize really how much you tidied up after us. Because when I wasn't here, there was no cleaning fairy. And so yeah, so we have to look at our health issues, no matter what they are teaching us a lesson. We have to decide whether we're going to become bitter and make, you know, with the lemons, or if we're going to make lemonade. And for me, it has been, I have empathy. I know what the difference is between sympathy and empathy. I have empathy for women who have, as I called it, hormonal depression over the times. Because it's not something you can just say, snap out of it, Sherri.
No, I've
you
got
just have to be
as well.
Yeah, you have to be kind to yourself. You have to know setup. You have to manage it. And that's all you can do is learn how to manage it without beating yourself up, which is part of it. But the good news is with money, we are in control. Whether you are experiencing PMD, whatever you're experiencing, money is 1 + 1 is 2. You can, and a lot of people need help. And that's what I do. I give that old fashioned, I will help you through it. I don't throw you a book, say here, you know, read this and take care of it. I will help you through because I know that if I can't help them, they will never get out of financial bondage or never be free for those unexpected things in the future. And so I really put their goals become my goals. And yes, they get a lot of value. In fact, they say, you give me too much value. And it's like, okay, but I do this because I don't do this because I want to make money and you know, become wealthy. I do this because I know the pain that money can bring into your life. And if you don't have your money organized and managed, then your whole life is affected. You get your money organized. Oh my gosh, the peace that it brings to you when everything has a place and every account has its purpose. And, you know, we have all the things set up. It just, you put it on autopilot and you just don't worry about it. And
that's really powerful.
It is.
Once I've so as we said at the beginning, this is going live on my Be Kind to Yourself business page instead of in the group, but it will get transferred into the group. So I'll get you, Sherri, to put in the comments how people can find you. So what is the best way people can find you? And then you can put in the comments as well for me.
Yeah. Well, I have basically two ways. Is my Facebook group, which is Happy Spenders Beyond Budgeting. And it was interesting when I was trying to find the name for that. I had to use the word budgeting, even though to me, I stopped budgeting 18 years ago. Yeah. And I will advise you as a money truth, stop budgeting and get a spending plan. But that's what people search for, is budgeting. So that's my Facebook group. And I actually have a meetup coming up a week Wednesday at night, and it's going to teach the difference between a budget and a spending plan. It's going to literally show you them side by side, the many more benefits with a spending plan. I also have my business page, which is Essential Spending Planner. And on there, you'll be able to read many reviews of how life-changing it has been. Money definitely can bring health costs. I had a client in the States who had a lot of debt, which is quite common for Americans. And I'm so glad I've been kind of raised here as an adult. And yeah, once she decided that she got her money in order, her health problems started to solve themselves. So we don't realize how much stress puts onto our mental health and our physical health. And that just by changing this one area and being prepared, that it can help you. So yeah, check out some of my reviews. But yeah, definitely the Happy Spenders Beyond Budgeting Facebook group is the place to be.
Awesome. Perfect. That's so good. Really good tips in there, Sherri. Really appreciate it. Sharing your own personal experience with your health and you know how being in the position that you're in has been so powerful for you to just be stress-free in the finance side of things. And thank you for sharing those top tips and where people can find you. I really appreciate you coming in and sharing that with us today.
Well, thank you.
Really, thank you so much. And I will